It's Labor Day weekend, and this country's best Top Fuel dragsters have gathered in Indianapolis, Indiana for the biggest drag race of the year, the NHRA U.S. Nationals. This is the oldest and most prestigious event on the national circuit. To win here is to be crowned the national champion. But the Nationals are more than just a long weekend of racing. It's also a chance to socialize, to be with old friends. Among the premier social events of the weekend is the All-Star Banquet. This gala awards dinner allows the competitors to honor their peers. Among those honored for their achievements as Top Fuel crew chiefs, only one has come wearing a dress. That's Dick LaHaie. I'm Dave Bowman. Join us today as we meet Dick and Kim LaHaie, the father-daughter dragster team whose unique relationship has helped make them one of the top competitors in drag racing. It's Monday, Labor Day, 10:30 a.m., and pre-race ceremonies are underway. As the invocation is pronounced, Dick and Kim LaHaie spend a few remaining moments of quiet, thinking about the challenges ahead and reflecting on the weekend's qualifying. The LaHaie's enjoy a unique relationship, combining the love between a father and a daughter with the trust found in all successful race teams. The pressures of racing continually test the relationship. Engine problems on Saturday were the first test of the weekend.
Well, we didn't run the first session on Thursday, and we went out yesterday just to make a shakedown run and check the car out. And we've been playing around with the fuel system and changing it. And it didn't work out quite the way we wanted it to, and it hurt a piston real early in the run. It ran 553 and 252, which is not a bad run, but it wasn't what we was looking for.
After 20-plus years of racing, Dick LaHaie has developed his own style and pace when it comes to working on the dragster. He has passed his method on to Kim. The LaHaie's are meticulous, careful, making sure everything is done right the first time. For crew chief Kim, the engine problems meant a long Saturday morning rebuilding the engine.
The motor was real lean on number 4 cylinder, and this was the piston here out of the motor. And it obviously was very hot and burnt the piston pretty bad, and all this aluminum went through the motor. There's so many little pockets and crevices that it can go into, and you have to consider everything from the oil filter, the oil pump, the oil pan, inside the lifters.
Although there was a qualifying session coming up in the afternoon, the LaHaie's were not sure if they'd run.
Well, we feel that we have 3 qualifying sessions left. We're number 4 right now. We're more concerned with everything being right in the motor. So we'll just kind of wait and see. If everything goes together okay, we'll go ahead and make the run today. If not, then we'll be out there first thing in the morning.
Without the benefits of major corporate sponsors, the LaHaie's have to race smart, being both highly competitive and yet conservative with parts.
I think that the people who have the major corporate sponsors and have the big budgets, they're freer to put new parts in more often. Therefore, maybe they can extend the power a little bit to where maybe it would hurt the motor, and it wouldn't affect them as much as, say, it would us. In other words, we wouldn't put our motor on kill to try to run as quick as we could, because we might not be able to make the next run. So we just try to save the parts, but yet run as quick as possible.
Being an independent also means making do with less people. Despite some help from friends, the bulk of the work is done by Kim and Dick.
You know, you're looking at these other cars with 4 or 5 people working on them. And Kim and I are doing the same job with just her and I doing it. So to describe how we work, it's an awful hard question right there. I guess all I can say is we work very well together, and we do the job of 4 people.
Working at their own pace, Dick and Kim decided to pass on Saturday's qualifying session, preferring to methodically rebuild the engine. The next morning, as the call came for the first of Sunday's 2 qualifying sessions, the LaHaie's were poised for their best ever performance. On Sunday morning, the LaHaie's were ready when the call for the next to last qualifying session came. The only way to check the engine work is to run. This qualifying pass would also let them know how their clutch setup would perform under race conditions tomorrow. As it neared their turn, there was a delay and oil down. The LaHaie's discussed their next step as the NHRA crews went to work cleaning the track.
We had a big discussion on whether we was going to run or not, because we're qualified well in this program now, and to go out and just to make a run and have something happen or lose the engine on account of the tires spinning too hard or something, it's a big decision to make. And I sit there and we contemplated that for quite a few minutes.
The LaHaie's worked by mutual agreement, discussing possible alternatives, and then together arriving at a course of action. Their partnership works because of their ability to communicate, to understand what the other thinks and feels. They communicate so well because of their complex relationship, father-daughter, racer-crew chief, and teacher-pupil. Since Kim first started working for her dad in 1982, Dick has been her teacher, educating his daughter in the science and magic of Top Fuel racing.
He takes a lot of pride in his work. Therefore, he has taught me to take a lot of pride in my work, whether it's putting the engine together or putting oil in the engine. Building the engines is most satisfying, probably because if you get everything together right and there's no leaks, that's an accomplishment. And if you go out on the racetrack and it runs good, then that's a bigger accomplishment. And then if you don't hurt anything in the engine, well, that's the greatest accomplishment of all. And a sense of accomplishment means a lot.
Like any good teacher, Dick has taught Kim not only the practical mechanical aspect, but also the theoretical, the whys of how things work.
When we do have the time, I may ask him why the fuel system works the way it does, or how different parts of the clutch work, and he will go on to explain. I'm thankful that he's had the patience over the years to explain it to me.
Even in these liberated times, a woman Top Fuel crew chief is a bit out of the ordinary.
To me, it's not out of the ordinary. It's natural. It's something that I like to do. And I feel real proud to have been able to do it for the past 4 or 5 years that I have.
Kim's love of mechanics, dealing with the intricacies and fascinations of the internal combustion engine, has been the driving force behind her achievements. It's what first motivated her to work for her dad, and what later helped her to succeed in the grueling world of Top Fuel racing.
I used to race motorcycles about 10 years ago, so I kind of got into the mechanics of things then. Even in '82, when I did come to work with them, at that time it was just going to be for a t-shirt salesperson or to clean up this or that, and it just worked into what it is today.
The relative quiet during the oil down was over, the cleanup completed, the dragsters fired up again. The LaHaie's faced a choice: run then on questionable track conditions or wait for the second session later in the day. If they waited, they wouldn't get an accurate feel for how their car would perform in the eliminations. But with uncertain track conditions, this run might be wasted for the LaHaie's. Butch Moss, a friend of the LaHaie's, had been watching the cleanup and reported back on what he saw. In the end, the LaHaie's decided to run. After she fired up the engine, Kim directed her dad up to the water box for the burnout. Claudia Stankiewicz, Dick's girlfriend, videotaped the run. Like most competitive teams, the LaHaie's videotape all their passes for reviewing later on. The tapes help verify Kim and Dick's impressions of the car's performance.
I always do a dry burnout. I'll do the smoky burnout and back up, and I'll actually pull out and turn the pre-stage light on and leave just like I'm going to leave on the run to see if the tires are going to hold, if the clutch is going to perform the way we expect it to. And then if the tires spin or the clutch don't work right or like we want it to, then I will adjust the way I drive to make up for it so that we're not going to waste a run, is what it amounts to.
Bill Bachong, a longtime friend, helped Kim direct Dick into position. Bill helps the team with mechanical work on the car at selected races each year. Despite their concerns, it's a good run with an elapsed time of 5.49 seconds, their quickest ever at Indianapolis. Kim has a real feeling of satisfaction as she goes to meet Dick at the far end of the track.
It started to move around in the morning right there.
And I was going to shut off, and I thought, no, it's moving pretty good.
Yeah, it started moving real good, straight back up.
Kim and Dick made the right decision. Out of the 31 cars vying for 16 qualifying positions, the LaHaie's were number 3. On the return road, the crowds applauded their outstanding performance. Despite overcast skies, the LaHaie's greet Labor Day Monday with confidence. Their race routine is so well rehearsed, Dick is able to chat with fans for a few moments. To compensate for their lack of manpower, the LaHaie's have to be efficient. As the crew helps with little details like checking parts that might be needed later, Kim and Dick function like a well-tuned machine, moving smoothly through their morning ritual of prepping the car.
Close them.
Stop! What's going on?
What's going on, as Kim and Dick discover, is that a bolt on the blower pulley has been stripped. This means the LaHaie's well-ordered pit ritual has to be altered. While the repair is not difficult, it does take time, a precious commodity for this team. The LaHaie's distinguish themselves with their lack of panic in this crunch situation, not wasting a moment or a movement in effecting the repairs. The bolt replaced, Kim and Dick continue with their warm-up procedure. The Top Fuel engine is a freakish beast, requiring equal amounts of finesse and force. Tuning, finding the right combination of air and fuel, is as much a science as magic. The only way to tell if all's well is to run the engine. This is why the warm-up procedure is so important. Midway through the process, Kim and Dick trade places. As Kim works the throttle from inside the cockpit, Dick gives the engine a quick look-see and makes fine-tuning adjustments.
Hang on, boys and girls. It's liable to run very well first round here.
The first round of eliminations is the most difficult. It's a new morning. Track conditions are unknown, and even though Dick is favored in his race with Jack Revell, anything can happen. As with everything she does, Kim is methodical about strapping her father in. In these final moments before he runs, Dick and Kim share a tender moment.
I know there is one thing that Kim and I always do. As she's strapping me in, I'll say, "Don't forget to say your little prayer." And that's just a habit. I mean, we do that all the time. It just comes naturally.
Driver and crew chief exchange a few last words of advice, encouragement, and support. Then, it's race time. Big win, but there's no time for Kim to celebrate. The second round will be up on them before they know it.
Let's go, Kim.
minutes is not a lot of time. There's plenty of work to be done on a Top Fuel dragster between rounds of eliminations. Because Kim and Dick have to do the work of 5 people, they have to find shortcuts. One way they save time is by not tearing the engine completely apart as some teams do. Instead, the LaHaie's will determine what fixes to make by running a cylinder leakage test.
What we're checking is to see how much compression and how much air is passing by the rings, which in turn tells you that the piston or the ring has collapsed. There should be only maybe 10 or 12 pounds that go by the rings.
Moving methodically, meticulously, Kim and Dick perform their task, freshening up the engine, fine-tuning the fuel injectors, and making adjustments to the clutch to compensate for changing track conditions. They also take some time to review Claudia's videotape for tips on how to set up the car.
Well, actually, there was nothing wrong with the engine at all. We changed 8 top halves of the rod bearings, which we do every run, adjusted the valves, reset the clutch, and added some clutch to it because it was a little light on the clutch. There was one cylinder that didn't run very well, and so I changed that nozzle to make it run better on the cylinder, and we're looking for it to run a middle 540 this run.
Time is running out. The LaHaie's are almost ready. In what seems much less than 90 minutes, they're called to the line for the second round, and they're meeting with former football star Dan Pastorini. The further a team goes in competition, the sweeter the victory. For Kim and crew, this win is a proud and joyful moment.
I said I'd run 45.
Good race.
In the staging lanes preparing for the semifinals, Kim and Dick feel the pressure. They will be racing number 1 qualifier Darrell Gwynn, who earlier in the weekend established a 5.34 seconds. As they wait, Dick relaxes with the legendary world champion Don Garlits, also in the semifinals.
You're running good.
First pair of our professional category cars.
I hope you don't win it.
32nd Annual U.S. National. We'll know the finalists here in just a few moments.
Despite the family feeling among drag racers, waiting in the staging lanes to race is psychologically hard on a team. All the work is done, and in these moments before the run, they can only stand and think about the competition ahead. Kim and Dick know that their best run of the weekend is a 1/10 of a second slower than Gwynn's best. The LaHaie's hope to offset the performance difference with Dick's driving abilities. If he can leave on Darrell, the LaHaie's might be able to pull off a major upset. Also a concern for the LaHaie's is lane choice. Kim and Dick will be running in the right lane. The best runs of the weekend have come from the left lane, but Gwynn's chosen that one by right of being quicker in the previous round. In keeping with their style of running competitively but conservatively, the LaHaie's have opted for consistency rather than all-out horsepower. The only change they've made is a slight adjustment to the clutch to compensate for the poor traction in the right lane. Dick and Kim have put forth a Herculean all weekend. In a few short moments, they'll know if they're to be rewarded with a chance to race in the finals. Dick does it. He gets out first. But in the last few feet, Gwynn catches and passes him. Victories, defeats, they're much more than numbers in a column. The harder a crew works, the more emotional they are at the outcome. Each win is a moment of personal achievement. Each loss, a moment of intense disappointment. For the LaHaies, their weekend at Indy has ended here in the semifinals. Their determination to overcome the odds makes losing that much harder to accept. But even in defeat, there is hope.
I get kind of down. I don't like losing races. She don't like losing races.
Nobody likes losing races.
But, you know, she tells me, you know, hey, look at it this way. We did good. You know, everybody here knows that we were here. And we run better than, you know, 90% of the cars. It just wasn't our turn to win.
We try to do the best we can, and the best we can. If it's not good enough at that particular time, well, we'll try again at another time.
There are rewards for trying harder. The LaHaie's reward came shortly after the Nationals in the form of a major corporate sponsor for the next season. There's a special bond that binds Dick and Kim LaHaie. Theirs is a unique relationship, one built on love, trust, honor, and respect, shaped by the emotional and physical pressures of drag racing. Whether in victory or defeat, they gain strength and courage from each other. And together, they stand prepared to face new challenges. For the Hidden Heroes, this is Dave Bowman.